I have to admit, I don't often think of the word Emmanuel. In fact, rarely do I hear it during the course of the year. O Come, Emmanuel is one of my favorite Christmas songs, but even those don't get sung as much as I would like. If I had my way, we would start right after Thanksgiving with a good few weeks of steady Christmas singing in church. But that's another subject. In this reading, Emmanuel is front and center. As you know, it means God is with us. And therein, to me, lies the essence of Christmas. God isn't above us, simply waiting to judge us and open up the pearly gates. God doesn't offer some impossible, unreachable standard, because God lived a life like ours, in fact, more difficult than most of ours. And he did that to show us all that we could be, all of our beautiful potential as human beings. Jesus experienced so many of the same things that you and I do. Love for his family, his dear friends, triumphant times, and he also suffered, like many of us, the bad side of humanity, betrayal, unfair judgment, in his case, torture and death. From people that were prejudiced, jealous, and threatened, they hurt him. And to a certain degree, all of us experience trials on different levels. When we explain to our kids that life isn't always easy or fair, we can certainly look to Jesus's very human example. And as a mom, I talk to my kids through the years about difficulties that seem so great to them. Like most parents, I've experienced those tearful, worried moments dealing with friendship troubles, insecurity, hurt feelings, any number of issues that seem so overwhelming to their tender young hearts. And oftentimes I try to help my kids with examples of perseverance from the lives of others. Hey, one of my favorites is telling them about how the great Michael Jordan was actually cut from his high school basketball team, but he didn't give up his dream, thank goodness. There are role models everywhere in sports and music and business and in our families, but what about Jesus? How often do we hold him up as the ultimate role model? How often, with our own kids, do we examine his life as a human being? Especially for teenagers, it makes God relatable, easier to grasp hold of, to feel close to. Jesus was born in a barn to a young woman whose husband had to be convinced not to divorce her, born into a political climate marked by religious corruption. He didn't run with a popular crowd. If anything, some of his closest friends were outcasts. He faced temptation. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't from a big city, and very few people even believed that he was actually what he knew himself to be. In the end, Jesus was bullied, tortured, and killed by those who either couldn't or just didn't want to understand who he was. His 3+ decades here on earth were filled with challenges that most of us will never come close to facing, and yet he was unwavering, loving, and forgiving until the very end. And so for us and our kids, what seems insurmountable sometimes in our lives is achievable. Our life, with all its problems and complexities, is the same one lived by Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. God isn't just looking down on the struggle of humanity. He's right here in the trenches, close to our pain, our sin, our imperfection. Jesus was vulnerable, and so are we. And when we are struggling, we can seek him out because he gets it. He's been here.